Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Robot Wars Reborn Cup Season 2. That one weird thing on the internet that your mom is okay with you watching. I'm your host, the Barangoat, and this is little baby kitten magic. She's not going to be in this episode today, though. What's going to be in this episode is some great fighting action in Heat C. We're going to start off Heat C today. We've got some bots returning from last year, ready to show you again what they are capable of. And we've got some new faces ready to show you what they can do for the first time. Should be a lot of fun based on what we've seen so far in the tournament. It's going to be a lot of excitement in this. I hope you and your moms are ready to watch. I know one mom that's ready to be watching, and it's the mom of our commentator, BattleBots Boy, aka Rich. How are you doing now, Rich? You ready to get Heat C started?
I know. Yeah, I know, but what do you want me to do about it? I can't... Hold on. Sorry guys, I'm in the middle of a phone call with my mom right now. Apparently she's upset that Razor didn't win last week's Heat, and... Mom, you need to stop yelling, please. What do you want me to do? Aftershock kicked his butt, fair and square. Okay, watch the language, please. Mom, you need to calm down. Go to the fight card already. Oh, man. My ear's gonna be ringing for a week, that's for sure. Speaking of ringing for a week, we have the 8th seed 13 Black ready to teach Expulsion a thing or two about deadly spinners. Pussycat back, hoping to make up for his first round loss last season, but first he'll have to survive the apocalypse that is, well, apocalypse. And we got a flipper frenzy between the big bad Bulldog Breed and the metal munching maniac M2. But up first, we have Ripper, the flipper, against Apex, the robotic T-Rex. Let the wars begin!
From Bristol, Apex.
A brand new machine in the Robot Wars Reborn Cup, Apex is here and he packed a powerful punch with that deadly horizontal bar spinner. But hopefully it won't be too deadly to the point of him self-destructing again, just like what happened in Robot Wars, the 10th Wars.
From Newcastle in Staffordshire, Ripper.
Another newcomer of the Robot Wars Reborn Cup, Ripper is here with that flipper, and it's cheered on by his brothers Gripper and Stripper, but he has all the weakness in the world. It's slow, the weapon lacked the destructibility factor, and he can't even right himself with it. What good is a flipper if he can't self-right?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Time for Heat C to commence, as Apex got his weapon up to full speed and goes in on the attack, and Ripper with a nice lift there on Apex, almost tipping him over, but Apex has left his mark on Ripper, leaving a nice gash on the side of Ripper, and now going for the other side with a nice hit there, scoring some damage points for the judges. As Apex continues to attack Ripper with a nice lift there. If Ripper can turn Apex over, it'll be all over because Apex does not have a self-righting mechanism. And Apex goes in and takes a piece off of Ripper's flipper, taking a little chunk off the frame right there. Ripper going in for another lift, but Apex gets deflected instead as Apex continues to land more hits on his opponent, score more points, dish out some more damage. Apex now going in on the back of Ripper to cause some additional damage, goes up on the flipper. That was a bit of a suicidal move by Apex. And there goes another piece of the frame of Ripper's flipper as Apex goes in for the kill, chases down Ripper, and finishes him off. Ripper had been KO'd and Apex is the winner. He'll be going through.
Cease.
Well, Ripper, R.I.P., rust in pieces. Apex is moving on to the next round, and next up is Bulldog Breed versus M2.
From Cannock in Staffordshire, Bulldog Breed.
Bulldog Breed is back after being thrown out of the arena by Behemoth in round 1 last season, but he is determined to not let that happen again. He's been rebuilt from the ground up. Will this be a major improvement or a giant step backwards? We shall see.
From Taunton in Hampshire, M2.
Another new robot to the Robot Wars Reborn Cup, M2 is here with that powerful flipper and its very well controlled pacing, but the inconsistency of its self-righting could be an issue here, especially against another flipper like Bulldog Breed.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Let the flipper frenzy begin as Bulldog Breed slams into the side of M2 and turns him over. M2 flipped by the initial impact instead of his opponent's flipper. Bulldog Breed going in on the attack again, turning M2 over onto his side. M2 trying to get in under Bulldog Breed with that wedge, but that wedge being long and narrow, making things a bit difficult for him as he gets turned over upside down by Bulldog Breed. Can he self-right? Not quite, but Bulldog Breed goes in with another flip. Is he trying to right M2 or throw him out of the arena perhaps? Going for another attempt there, but M2 just stays in, and he finally rolled back onto his wheel. Bulldog Breed making a couple of attempts to throw M2 out of the arena, but came up short both times. M2 now backing away, trying to regain his bearings, as he gets turned over again by Bulldog Breed, but lands on his wheels that time. M2 trying to keep that wedge facing toward Bulldog Breed as he continues to show his aggression toward his opponent. And now both robots going for the pit release trigger as M2 tries to push Bulldog Breed toward the pit, but gets knocked onto his side just by bumping into Bulldog Breed. M2 trying to right himself again with a little assistance from Bulldog Breed, who goes in with another nice slam and flip on M2. Bulldog Breed now got M2 on his side yet again in the corner patrol zone. Can Bulldog Breed throw M2 out of the arena? Not quite. M2 stays in the arena, albeit upside down, as Bulldog Breed continues pressurizing M2, trying to throw him out of the arena. Got him up against the arena sidewall. M2 needs to get away, and he does. Oh, now M2 underneath Bulldog Breed, and he got him upended. Now it looks like M2 is turning the table on Bulldog Breed, and Bulldog Breed is out of the arena for the second season in a row. Oh my gosh, what a turnaround. Bulldog Breed doing all the work and gets thrown out of the arena by M2 in one single flip. Wow, I feel so sorry for Bulldog Breed. All that hard work for naught. He goes out in the first round again, M2 goes through, and now we have Apocalypse facing Pussycat.
From Coleslaw, North Warwickshire, Apocalypse.
We welcome Apocalypse with open arms, as he has his own open arms for grabbing and that overhead axe for causing damage. The perfect synergistic weapon design, but the weapons themselves are not structurally sound. We'll see how well they'll hold up here.
From Gloucester, Pussycat.
Pussycat is back after being taken out by Cassius in round 1 last season. He has a much improved spinning disc and that awkward design to prevent him from being KO'd by flippers, unless he gets thrown in a pit or out of the arena. Here's hoping that Pussycat will have a perfect run this season.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
And we begin the latter half of Heat C as Apocalypse immediately goes in on the attack, slamming down on Pussycat with all three of those arms, as Pussycat got that weapon facing towards his opponent, and Apocalypse just lost his overhead axe! There you can see Apocalypse coming down with the axe right onto Pussycat's weapon, and Pussycat ends up severing Apocalypse's primary weapon. But Pussycat lost a wheel! How'd that happen? Let's have a look. Pussycat drove right into the sidearm of Apocalypse, and that was enough to take off one of his wheels. Oh, careful, Apocalypse. You don't want to get turned over by the arena flipper, because if you get turned over, you can't right yourself. Not without that axe. As Apocalypse goes in on the attack with those arms, chopping away at the front and the wheel of Pussycat. If he can take off that second wheel on Pussycat, then it'll be all over for him, as Pussycat will not be able to drive with his remaining wheels on top. And it looks like that's what Apocalypse is going for. He is going for that other bottom wheel, as Pussycat is trying desperately to keep that spinner facing towards Apocalypse, but now he won't be able to. He just lost that second wheel, and Apocalypse goes in to finish the kitty off. There you can see Apocalypse grabbing that second wheel of Pussycat and lobs it right off him before landing the finishing blow. Pussycat, with the same amount of luck as Furball from Tiny Toons, goes out in round 1 again. He literally lost an arm and a leg, as well as his 9 lives. Apocalypse is through to round 2, and last up for round 1 is the 8th seed 13 Black and Expulsion.
From Hinckley, the number 8 seed, 13 Black.
13 Black returns as the number 8 seed after being knocked out in the Heat's final stage by the eventual champ Supernova. He's got those 2 deadly spinning roulette wheels that can do some serious damage, but it is a bit difficult to control. Let's hope that won't affect him all that much.
From Brentwood, Expulsion.
Our final newcomer of this heat, Expulsion, has a spinning disc of his own and is heavily armored, but the fact that he is slow moving and smaller in comparison, and he had an unfortunate draw against the number 8 seed, can be a drawback, but let's see how well he'll do in his debut appearance.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
So, we have 1 spinning disc against 2 spinning discs. Is 2 better than 1? We shall see. As 13 Black goes in on the attack, gets a little nick on Expulsion. As the 2 robots clash weapon to weapon. That was a nice little lift there by Expulsion as he drives over the arena flipper, and so does 13 Black. They really shouldn't do that because I don't think these robots are capable of self-righting should they get turned over. 13 Black now sitting and spinning on the spot like a thwackbot as he gets a nice little hit on the side there on Expulsion, knocking him aside a little bit. 13 Black, bigger in comparison and faster, able to rip a piece off of Expulsion right there, but Expulsion with a lot of armor, he is able to take in a lot of damage as he takes one of the discs off of 13 Black. 13 Black losing half of his weaponry, but it's a good thing he got that other disc for backup as the drop zone went off for some reason. Why? There was nobody in the drop zone at the time. As 13 Black goes in on the attack again and flips Expulsion over on his back and loses the second disc! Expulsion getting turned over by the seated machine and in retaliation takes the second disc off of 13 Black. 13 Black now weaponless and in major peril as he begins pushing Expulsion around. Expulsion still able to run on his back, although it is a bit disorienting with him being inverted like that. Expulsion now looking more like a windmill, get turned back over by 13 Black and pushed into the washing machine. And 13 Black got to come up with something because he is well behind on points after losing both of his spinning discs. And now 13 Black is smoking and we're all choking, and I'm not joking. And a wheel came off of somebody right there. Whose wheel was that? Let's have a look. 13 Black pushing Expulsion into the washing machine, and it was Expulsion who lost the wheel from that impact into the washing machine, courtesy of 13 Black. Both of these robots are now heavily crippled, with Expulsion having only 1 wheel and 13 Black having no weapon. As 13 Black is trying to figure out a plan to go after Expulsion without taking any more additional damage. He drives right into the spinner and goes for the pit release trigger. 13 Black's only hope of winning this fight is to push Expulsion into the pit, as Expulsion has removed one of 13 Black's weapon motor. And 13 Black pushing Expulsion toward the corner patrol zone. He needs to get him into that pit as time is ticking away. 13 Black gotta hope for a miracle here if he wants to win this fight, because otherwise, if it goes to the judges, they could give this match to Expulsion, and it could cause a cup set. As 13 Black begin pushing Expulsion toward the pit, and down goes Expulsion. 13 Black able to secure victory and he goes through to round 2. Man, it looked like Expulsion were going to cause a huge cup set, taking out the 8th seed, but 13 Black takes victory away from Expulsion. It wasn't a pretty victory, but a victory nonetheless. 13 Black through along with Apocalypse, M2, and Apex, and here's how they line up for round 2. We shall see Apocalypse take on the number 8 seed 13 Black, but up first, we will have Apex clash heads with M2.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
So, we begin round 2 with 2 first-time competitors scoring their first wins here in the Robot Wars Reborn Cup, and Apex gets thrown across the arena by the floor flipper and lands on his back. M2 trying to throw Apex out of the arena, couldn't quite do so. Apex pressed the pit release button to get turned over again by M2. Have a look at the replay here. Apex drives over the arena flipper and ends up paying the price, gets tossed across the ring, and then gets turned over again, courtesy of M2, as Apex is able to right himself with his weapon in flamboyant style. I like that. M2 flips Apex over again, as Apex is able to land a shot on the top of M2 and break off a piece of his roll cage, as M2 scores another lift on Apex, trying to throw him out of the arena. Apex is trying to retreat to spin his weapon up to full speed. M2 with a nice pop-up there of Apex, throwing him up in the air, making him look like a helicopter for a second, as Apex comes crashing down to the ground, back on his wheels, and he is now running away to spin his weapon up to full speed, only to get knocked aside by M2 and land on the flame grill, and Apex loses a piece of his weapon. One of the axe blades just came off of Apex, and now his weapon is unbalanced. M2 with a nice flip on Apex, turning him over again as Apex tried to run away, and he takes a piece of M2's flipper right off. There you can see M2 scoring another flip on Apex, turning him upside down, and Apex breaks off half of M2's flipper. Both robots are putting a hell of a show here, as M2 gets underneath Apex again, but couldn't quite get a lift in. It looked like M2's flipper is now too badly damaged for him to score another flip on Apex. This could be an advantage for Apex. Oh, both robots dangerously close to the pit. You do not want to go over there. M2 with another charge. Couldn't quite get a lift in. Another charge. He misses and gets smacked from behind by Apex. Trying to lift Apex up, but can't quite do so. Get away from there, Apex. M2 now pushing Apex back toward the wall and finally gets another flip in, and Apex loses another piece of his weapon. There goes another one of his axe blades, and his weapon is now definitely going to be unbalanced. That's going to cause some major issues for Apex. There you can see his weapon twisting and bending as it tries to spin back up. Apex is turned up and over again. His weapon had taken a lot of damage in this fight. There you can see another piece of his weapon breaks off. I'm not sure if Apex will be able to right himself this time. M2 is staring down at his opponent. Is he going to let him sit and struggle self-righting, or is he going to try to throw him out of the arena? Apex crab walking across the arena. The referee is starting the countdown on Apex as he is on the arena flipper and get turned back on his wheels by the arena hazard, only to get turned back upside down by M2. And M2 just lost the rest of his flipper. There you can see he goes after Apex again, trying to throw him out of the arena, it looks like, and the rest of his flipper just breaks off. Apex still on his back, still struggling to self-right. Can he get himself back on the floor flipper? M2 trying to push him away from the flipper, but you gotta be careful because if M2 gets turned over, he won't be able to right himself. As we wind down the closing seconds of this match, will Apex be able to make his way back to the flipper and get flipped back over? No, he will not. Apex has been counted out. Well, what a wonderful back and forth match that was. Apex causing a lot of damage, but it was all for naught. He was unable to self-right, and with just 3 seconds left, he got counted out. M2 is through to the Heat Final. Who will he fight? Will it be Apocalypse or the 8th seed 13 Black?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
So, We saw what Apocalypse could do against one spinning weapon. Now let's see how he'll handle two, as he starts swinging away at 13 Black, and 13 Black with a nice shot there on the side of Apocalypse and breaking off that right grabbing arm of his opponent. And now 13 Black, it looked like, is going for the other grabbing arm, and that is indeed the case as Apocalypse continues swinging away at 13 Black and breaks off one of his opponent's flywheels. Apocalypse landing a direct hit on the top right there, and that flywheel of 13 Black comes right off. 13 Black now got to keep that other flywheel protected from Apocalypse's axe as he comes back around and starts chipping away at the side of Apocalypse, hitting that stump where that grabbing arm used to be, and Apocalypse is now starting to smoke. 13 Black want to prevent Apocalypse from taking off that other flywheel. Apocalypse still swinging away at 13 Black. He can secure victory for sure if he can take off their flywheel, but is 13 Black going to be able to finish him off? And the answer is yes. 13 Black goes in with a finishing blow on Apocalypse, and 13 Black scored the knockout victory.
Cease.
And there you have it, folks. We have our last two bots standing, those being the underdog M2 and the seeded 13 Black. We got a classic flipper versus spinner heat final here, and it's guaranteed to be one heck of an awesome match. Back to you, Nick.
Thanks, Rich. So it's almost time for the Heat C final between M2 and 13 Black. One machine you obviously would have expected to be here, the seeded machine, but M2, especially with the way he started that first match, you wouldn't have expected him to have gotten this far. But good bots and champions always find a way to win, no matter what they're going through, no matter the adversity, and that's what both of these bots have done so far. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what the next match will bring in store for these two. It could be one of these bots' last match, and they've provided some good entertainment. They've both been through hell, and they're about to go through hell one more time in order to get that coveted spot in the semifinals. Personally, I think M2 has done a very good job to hold on to his spot in this heat, and I think he's going to find a way to take out the seeded machine. But how about you, Rich? Before we send it down to the fight, I want to hear your thoughts.
Thanks, Nick. Don't mind the ice pack, guys. My mom really did a number on my ear. So we got the heat final between M2 and 13 Black, and although M2 has been struggling in his first match against Bulldog Breed, he has been able to pull off a surprise comeback, and we saw in his fight against Apex that he is able to withstand a ton of punishment. Will that be the case against the number 8 seed 13 Black, who had a couple of unfortunate events with his spinner falling off in both of his matches against Expulsion and Apocalypse? But he's facing a robot with a non-damaging weapon. However, he had not faced a flipper yet. Will he be able to recover with that stream mech? We haven't seen it in action yet, but this will be the chance for him to test it out. And 13 Black's slogan, as you all know, is unlucky for some, but I think 13 Black might be the unlucky one here. That's right, I'm picking M2 to win this one. So let's go to the Heat C final.
M2. 13 Black.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
And so, we begin the final match of Heat C with the spinners of 13 Black against the flipper of M2. M2 sizing up 13 Black as 13 Black comes in with a flywheel, then gets a nice hit there on the side of M2, charging in towards his opponent, weapon spinning full speed, and gets a nice hit on the side of M2, who's struggling to get underneath 13 Black with that flipper. M2 should play it safe. He did not want to take a lot of damage, and he turns over 13 Black, and 13 Black able to right himself, and at the same time, he popped M2 up onto his back. Both robots are stranded, and now they're back on their wheels and back in on the action as M2 tried to flip 13 Black over again, and he does so. 13 Black using that stream deck to right himself, only to get tossed over again by M2, and again up against the arena wall. Can he use that stream deck to get back on his wheels? He can, but M2 is right there to make sure he stays on his back, as M2 is trying desperately to throw 13 Black out of the arena. There you can see the first flip there that started this tussle, as 13 Black tried to right himself, and now the pressure is on 13 Black as M2 is trying everything he can to throw the seated machine over the arena barrier. M2 underneath 13 Black again. 13 Black trying to right himself, and M2 got him on the wall and out of the arena, and 13 Black is out! M2, the underdog of the heat, had won it! He has successfully thrown the seated machine out of the ring, and M2 is the winner of this heat. Well, what a major surprise that was. Another seed bites the dust in the heat final stage, and that's the second time in a row that happened to 13 Black. M2, the winner of Heat C, he cruises on to the series semifinals. What did you think about that major upset, Nick?
Well, Rich, it's another great upset to keep the drama going for this tournament. You know, I wouldn't have expected M2 to have won this heat when we started things off tonight, but seeing the way he was able to dominate the seated machine 13 Black, it shows that he does have the skill set to be where he currently is. He managed to show that skill set in 3 consecutive fights to win the heat, and I think there's a lot more coming from this machine. He could be this year's dark horse, and I'm glad to see him competing so well after what was a rough start in that first match. Commiserations to 13 Black. You'll have to wait to see if you get one of the wildcard spots that are available. That'll be in about 7 videos time, so you got a long time to wait. I am the Barangoat, and we'll see you guys for Heat D. On behalf of myself and Rich, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.